and we just treat it with the same verse, you see. And this is the same when you say there's a lock, a padlock. So that lock could be, it could be a normal lock, could be a big lock, a small lock, could be many locks attached together, it could be with a chain, etc. You can imagine so many different ways, but it all comes back to a lock. So it is to tell you that these symbols are large. You can understand them quite large, so they have a large impact on different ways. Okay, where am I reaching? I must not get confused. General. Yeah. Now I was saying that's the general. So now for the symbolic. So for the person we're making diagnostic. So we know he has sihr. We're going to say how many days we're going to give him sana, and which places we're going to put hijama on his body, and what symbolic sorceries he has, so that we will add those verses in the water he's going to use, right? And how to add the verses, either by writing them to dilute them, either by reading them on that water. So if we read, we have to read 11 times. If we write them once. You see, because the writing is more strong than the reading, because the reading is just air, you can say, and the writing is something solid, more solid. So either we write them once or we read them 11 times. Now it depends each one, well, if you can read it easily or if it is easier for you to write it, is as you wish, right? And now for the Quran in water, actually we can read these verses on Quran. We can also write them to make the Quranic water. So if you're going to write the verses to make the Quranic water, you will write the essential verses. It is those I gave you yesterday, and you have in the papers, Fatiha, Ayat al-Kursi, Qul Huwallahu Ahad, Falaq al-Nas, and the 3 verses of Musa alayhi salam, with the sources of Fir'aun, A'raf 117 to 122, Yunus 81, 82, and Taha 68 to 70. So if you write all that once, you have to take an ink that is, how do you say, that can be resolved, and that can be also eaten, because you're going to drink of it. So usually we use za'afran, or you can use that black stuff that kids write Quran with in Quranic schools. Maybe don't have the same system in Pakistan, India. It does in Africa. Anyway, any ink that can be diluted and also that can be eaten, so it will not be harmful for the person. So you write that, and the person can go with the paper, and now he's going to dilute that paper into about 25 liters of water. So if either you get a bucket of 25 liters, or you take 18 bottles, that will be a total of 27 liters anyway, and you empty them and you put the paper inside, and that will give Quranic water. You see? Now, this is just a technical question, but it is, I mean, you have to see how you're going to organize yourself. Because in the beginning, it was, we were doing that for about 13 years, and it's only now, about a couple of years that we changed. I was buying water. I was buying 1 pallet of water every day. That's 500 bottles and more. And reading Quran on that, and giving every patient will go with 12 bottles, 18 bottles, 24 bottles, according to the problem he has. And in Africa, we buy buckets, 20 liter or 25 liter buckets. We can buy 100 a day, 150. Sometimes we need to clean them up because they have been having oil inside, etc. So it's a very big job to bring those buckets and to fill them up and to read Quran on them. So now, because if it is writing, it will take a lot of time to write for each person, to write for each person. So anyway, so that is, you have this, either you have the bottles or the gallons of water, and you read on it, and the patient will go with that. Either, well, if it is yourself at home, you can do it anyway. Either you're going to write those verses. So if you're going to write the verses, you write the verses, the basic verses to Quranize the water, Fatiha, etc., etc., and then you add the verses for the symbols. It could be 5, 10, 15, according to the problems of the person. So you add the verses beneath, and that's what he's going to dilute in 18 bottles. 18 because 12 bottles he's going to wash with, and the others he's going to use to drink the sana and to spray the house. Right? So make it 18, so it will be sufficient whatever happens. So there's that solution, or you can read them all in the water. Anyway, this is how it works. So now the last solution we have is that we take printers, and we put the edible ink inside the printer, and then we print all the verses. MashaAllah. So since we're doing that, it's so much easier, alhamdulillah, so much easier for us, also for the patients, because they don't have to travel with bottles and bottles of water, and it's really easier for us. And I was hesitating for years, for 3 or 4 years, to do this, and I was thinking, well, the person who's writing those verses, his own taqwa, his own niyyah, has an involvement in the treatment, so how can we replace that with a machine? So the argument that made me accept to pass on to a printed Quran is that Quran itself, before being printed, was written by hand. It was written by hand in time of Prophet ﷺ for centuries before print was existed. And when Quran was printed, does that diminish something to the importance of Quran? I mean, can someone say, no, this is just a printer. This is just a printer. Why should we respect these words? No, you have to respect it. You can't put it in a toilet, etc. You need wuzu to touch it, everything. So there's no legally, Islamically, there's no difference between Quran written by hand or Quran printed by machine. It is the same sacred, the same taqdis pak Quran. And this is, so I said, okay. And alhamdulillah, so we're printing Quran, and we're using that, and it's working, alhamdulillah. And the advantage when it's printed, so now that it's printed, so we put the basic verses, and then we add all the 45 verses, because it is easy with the printer. So, and that makes that the treatment for everyone is easier, because you come, you have 5-10 sorceries, we're going to give you treatment for 45 sorceries. So even if we missed 1 or 2, well, no problem, we're going to treat them anyway. And that is also easier, that we don't need a personalized treatment for each one. No, this is your paper, no, that's your paper, it's not the same. That's the same for everybody, because we're putting the maximum for all the people. Okay, so what am I saying? Still, yet, now we're reaching, still we need to do the, still we need to do the diagnosis, and we need to know what sihr you have. Now, because you can think that we're giving you a paper of 45 kinds of sihr, so why look for them? Why ask, why to say you have sihr on a tree, you have sihr in the grave, you have sihr in the photo, you have this and that. We still need to do it. We still need to do it for many reasons. First reason is that when you identify the sihr, it weakens. It weakens the sihr. I mean, sihr is like similar to jinn. Jinn is hidden, and the fact that you don't see him and you don't know him gives him strength, gives him power on you. And the more you identify him, you know his name, his age, etc., their number of jinns, so that weakens them. You see, because that's how they are. And it is the same for sihr. When you know that you have sihr, for example, you are dreaming of dead people, you're thinking about death, you don't want life, and I tell you, that is because they made sihr in a graveyard, and that is attracting you to death, and that's making that on you. I said, that's it. I was thinking I'm going to die, I was thinking something, so there's nothing. Just that they put my photo in a graveyard, and that's doing it, you see? So the fact you know it, it's decreasing its effect. And secondly, when the person is going to come back after his treatment, and we're going to ask him, how are you now, what did you see in your dreams since last time, this and that, so then we must have the old record and then to new record to compare, to see did this sihr go or not, did this sihr stay, is it a new one, is it the same one? Some have gone, some have stayed. Are there any new sihrs that were not last time or were not? So we have to know what's going on, so that we can follow up and we know where we're going. Are we getting out or not getting through? Anyway, what's happening to the patient? You see? So we can follow up the case. And also, so if one day happens and you don't have that paper, printed paper, and you have to treat him yourself just with water, so you must be able to do it. So this is why, even if we are using the 45 verses for each person, we still have to do proper diagnosis on each person. Okay? So that was the third kind of sihr. That is symbol. And you do remember that I told you that sihr is done in 4 different ways. The first one is eaten, the second one is put in the body, for that we use hijama cupping, and the third one is symbolic, and for that we use these 45 verses. And you see, I have been saying all these stories to you so that you understand how much it is important. How much it is important to use these verses. So you must not be lazy and say, no problem, I'm reading Quran, Allah Ta'ala is big and this and that. There is a part of taqwa and believing in Allah Ta'ala, but there's also a part of technique. That's it. Because Rasulullah himself, he was ill and he was making dua, and his dua was not enough to cure him. And he was reading the Quran, praying, but that was not enough to cure him. Allah Ta'ala showed him and he went all the way and took the sihr out. So that has to be done also. It is a question of technique. May Allah Ta'ala help us. I had one patient, I was doing a job with her of Islamic books, and she was having too many problems with her book. And I told her, yo, my sister, you must have a sihr problem, because I never had so many problems. I'm a publisher. I never had such problems with the book. And she told me that she wrote to me, she said she did not want to make treatment. She was wanting to make tawakkul on Allah Ta'ala, and she was reluctant to take treatment, to wash with water and this and that. But then she remembered the story of Yunus alayhi salam. And Yunus alayhi salam was ill, and he did not want to ask Allah Ta'ala to cure him, but until when it reached to his tongue, so now he could not accept that, and he said, Ya Allah, and he asked Allah Ta'ala to cure him, and Allah Ta'ala told him to hit the ground with his foot, and water will come out, and you have to drink and wash and bathe with that water. So even for Prophet Yunus alayhi salam, and Allah Ta'ala is giving him is a remedy, and Allah Ta'ala is asking him to drink and to bathe with the water. So why should we say, no, I don't want to wash with the water? Even his prophet was asked to wash with the water, so why? You want Allah Ta'ala to cure you without you doing anything? You can do some asbab. You can do some treatment. Yes? Ayub, yes, did I say Yunus? Sorry, it is Ayub alayhi salam. Yeah.
Remember regarding to reading on the water, what's the process? Imagine if you have 24 bottles.
Yeah, reading on the water, what is the process? You open those bottles in front of you. If you have bottles of oil, you will also open them in front of you. If you have incense, if you have anything else you want to Quranize, for example, we also use kuhl. How do you say kuhl in English? Black powder that you put in the eyes. Azkar? Mascara. Yeah, not mascara like no, not exactly mascara. Kuhl. Yeah, black powder that you put with a stick inside your eye. Right? So also we use that if someone has eye problems, we read Quran on that and you put it on your eye. Yes?
Sure. You know, when you recite something and blow the water, is there something from the Sunnah, like blowing on the water? There's a practice like you recite something and blow the water.
You're asking if it is Sunnah?
Yeah, I mean.
Yes, it is Sunnah.
The Prophet did that.
Yes. It is Sunnah, and there are lots of hadith and a practice of Sahaba on that. Well, today I'm not talking about dalils, but there's dalils to many things. Dalils is part of tomorrow's course, inshallah. Yes?
In the beginning, you said if you treat somebody, you're likely to be attacked, and you said that a person he managed to kill someone in their dreams and so on. How is that done? I didn't ask you that question because I thought you didn't know.
Say it again.
You said if you're treating somebody you don't know and you're bound to have this
attacked. Yeah.
And then you said that one of your students he managed to defeat the attacking jinn in his dreams and things like that, or explain them?
It's not one of my students. It's one person yesterday, after I did the speech, he came and told me that he himself, no one explained it to him, but he was fighting in his dreams these funny creatures that were attacking him, and after he killed 2 of them, so none of them came anymore.
But how is that possible in your dream? Because when you're in a dream, somebody is attacking
Oh, we discussed about that yesterday and also today. You have to prepare yourself before sleeping.
you.
Before sleeping, you prepare yourself mentally and you ask Allah Ta'ala to help you and give you the power to break them and to kill them. And as soon as you go to sleep, as soon as you see them, you fight them until you kill them. That's how. It's just being prepared mentally, yes?
You guys say you open up the bottle.
Yes. So you open the bottles, you open the oil, you open the incense, you open whatever you want to read on. You can also read on the products to clean the house, on your shampoo, on your creams, on the kohl, on anything, and you put all of that in front of you and read it, and you read on it. So maximum number of bottles, you could put up to 120 bottles in front of you and read Quran on all of that. So before, we used to reach these maximum numbers because we had a lot of bottles and